I feel very tall up here, actually. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Robin Pilkey. I'm the current chair at the Toronto District School Board, and I'm the trustee for Parkdale High Park. On behalf of the TDSB and my fellow trustees, welcome. It is my great pleasure to invite Chief Stacey Laforme, Chief of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation, who will honor us with the land acknowledgement.
Somebody applauds.
You feel tall.
Come on, somebody can applaud. You're going, yeah. Ani, Buju, Nogani, Nishtabekanini, Stacey Laforme, Disneycause, Credit Dunjawa, Mainga Dodum, Mississauga, Anishinaabe Dao. Told you my clan, where I'm from, my Anishinaabe name, what I had for breakfast. No? Okay. It's a pleasure to be here. I admire, it's a long time in coming, a long time overdue, and so many people work so hard to get here. And it's a pleasure to be here. You know, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be roadblocks, and there's going to be issues, but everybody should know that going in, we're not perfect. You know, the one commonality we share is imperfection. So I think going forward together and finding a way through this all will make us all better, stronger, and we can deliver a fantastic program, a fantastic educational system. I'd just like to acknowledge the Creator, the world around us, and our place within it. I'd like to acknowledge my Indigenous brothers and sisters who've walked this land in the past. I'd like to acknowledge the Indigenous brothers and sisters and the non-Indigenous brothers and sisters who walk this land today, and welcome you to the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe. I would like to read you a prayer that I wrote because I think it's a reminder of the struggles that we're going to have, but how we're going to persevere. And I'm getting old, so I actually had to bring my prayer with me, even though I read it a lot. We give thanks to the Creator for allowing this gathering. We ask that He guide us and forgive us when we falter and disappoint. For though we aspire to greatness, we are, after all, only human. Grant us a clear mind, a pure heart, and courage. A clear mind to make intelligent, well-thought-out decisions. A pure heart to make decisions that are without personal bias or desire. And the courage to use both, a clear mind and a pure heart in our lives. Let us set aside small differences. Let us concentrate on the real issues. Let us not be bogged down in rhetoric. Let us live each day with a feeling of accomplishment and pride. Most important, let us remember, we are not enemies nor are we adversaries. We share a similar past, a kindred spirit, and a common heritage. We must always remember the real reason we gather, to do the right thing for our people, for our children, and for our future. Oh, my goodness. So I don't want to take too long. I know I was up here for 2 minutes in the agenda, so I'll keep it to that. I just want to say that I'm so happy and impressed with all the hard work that's gone on here, and I look forward to helping if there's any way I can be of assistance through this whole process. Chimagwich, and I'd like to welcome back up Robin.
Thank you, Chief Laforme, for those wonderful words. We have many guests here with us this morning. There is a long list, and if you're not, maybe when I call your name up, please raise your hand. It is school, after all. We are very fortunate to have the Honourable Indira Naidoo-Harris, who is our current Ontario Minister of Education and the Associate Minister of Education responsible for early years and childcare. And thank you. So raise your hand. John Malloy, TDSB Director of Education. Steve Shaw, TDSB Executive Officer, Facility Services, Sustainability and Planning. Sandy Spiropoulos, TDSB Executive Superintendent. John Tasty, sorry about that, John Chasty. Okay, let's not go there. John Chasty, TDSB Superintendent for this school. Jennifer Story, who is First Nations School of Toronto trustee for Toronto Danforth, so we're happy that she's here as well. Obviously, we have Chief Stacey Laforme, the Chief of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. We have Elder Pauline Shirt, Elder Vern Harper, Elder Joanne Dallaire, Dr. Susan Dion, and First Nations School parent Shannon Judd. There you are. who are members of the Aboriginal Community Advisory Committee and Steering Council. We have Jennifer Gray and Leslie Van Every, First Nations School of Toronto Parent Council co-chairs. Christina Breen, First Nations School of Toronto Vice Principal. Tanya Senk, Centrally Assigned Principal, Aboriginal Education Centre. Murphy Salo, Centrally Assigned Vice Principal, Aboriginal Education Centre. Bonnie Johnson, who is our Community Liaison, Aboriginal Education Centre. I would like to thank you all for coming. If I didn't mention your name, I'm sorry, but we appreciate you coming as well. We're gathered here today to welcome a capital facilities announcement by the provincial government. Investing in our schools means providing students with healthier and safer environments to learn. This creates opportunities for their future and the future of our communities. Let me tell you a little bit about this incredible school we're at today. The First Nations School of Toronto was originally called Wandering Spirit Survival School and was envisioned back in 1976 by Elder Pauline Shirt and co-founded by Elder Vern Harper, who are both with us here today. Considered then a private school, it was attended by 5 of their children and some neighbors' children. Today, though, this school offers JK to grade 9. Next year, we'll be excited to add grade 10. And the First Nations School of Toronto focuses on Indigenous knowledge, perspectives, and ways of life. Throughout its curriculum and the 7 generations, it centers Indigenous perspectives and a way of knowing, as well as offering Indigenous languages, empowering students with strong cultural identities that support their well-being. We are looking forward to learning more about this announcement and to continue working with Indigenous partners, communities, and the province to enhance and strengthen Indigenous education. Before I wrap up, let me thank the First Nations School of Toronto and the Aboriginal Education Centre for hosting this event. And now, please join me in welcoming Indira Naidoo-Harris, Minister of Education.
Thank you, Robin, for that lovely introduction. Wow, what a great group of people. And so good to see so many young people here today, this morning, too. So, good morning, everyone. Bonjour, bonjour, Annie. And I can't tell you how pleased I am to be here with you all today for what I know is going to be an absolutely amazing announcement for our young people. And as the Chief reminded us, that is absolutely why we are here today. So, Chief Laforme, I have to start out by thanking you, of course, for the acknowledgement, but a special thank you for those words, those special words that really put us on a right path this morning and reminded us of why we are all here and gathered here today. Je suis heureuse d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui, so I can't tell you how pleased I am to be here with you. This is my first visit through the First Nations School of Toronto, and what an experience. You know, the moment I walked into the hallway, one of the first things I noticed was the artwork. Just lining up on the hallway, just sitting there very simply on the floor, but such a strong reminder of the importance of our culture, of our history, and a reminder of really the young people who are here today and their journey really towards success and the path to success. But that those paintings were beautiful, absolutely stunning and absolutely beautiful. And so for me, right off the bat, it was energizing and inspiring to be here and to get a sense of what the school is all about, because this school really focuses on empowerment and giving students here a strong sense of cultural identity, a strong sense of who they are and where they come from. And believe me, I know in a real way how important that is, because knowing who you are and your identity helps you really make that journey through your life in a very strong and confident way, and really will put all of you, all of our young people, on a path to be tomorrow's future leaders. So I'd like to begin by saying thank you. Thank you to the students, educators, and staff here at First Nations School of Toronto for creating this special place of learning and for welcoming us all here today. As I said, the moment I walked into this school, I felt the rich history of this school, and the beautiful mural behind me is just an amazing reminder of that, a reminder of the history and what makes this school so special. and how this mural really represents, I think, the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit groups all coming together. It reflects the cultural identity of the students and staff here at the First Nations School, but I think it's also art, and art like this is a bridge, isn't it? It's a bridge of understanding and creates a pathway between all of us so we can have conversations about our future together. So thank you to Vice Principal Breen and Principal McKay, and of course to all the students here for making this a great place to learn, laugh, and grow. Don't forget that. And I put the word laugh in very, very clearly because that is important. Places where you learn are not just places to come and be serious. It really is about learning, but learning to grow with each other and having fun while you do it. Because that's what our life's relationships are all about, is enjoying our friends and neighbors and learning from each other. I also want to say thank you to the Aboriginal Community Advisory Committee and the Parent Advisory Council who are here today. Your hard work, dedication, and support for Indigenous students is absolutely invaluable. It's because of your tireless efforts that these young people are on a path to success. So I'm honored to be here with you all today to speak with you about how we are expanding support for First Nation, Métis, and Inuit children and families living off reserve under the Journey Together, Ontario's commitment to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. I'm here today to talk specifically to you about additional support that we are providing for children and families who use childcare and child and family programs in urban and rural areas. I want you to know that high-quality early years programs are so important. They're so important for families. They're so important for children in our communities. And they are absolutely a big priority for us in government. That's because we're transforming the way we deliver childcare and early years programming in our province. Why? Because we get it. We know those early years are critical. They're critical to a child's future and development. We know that children need support and a solid foundation to grow, and we recognize that there is a role for government to play in all of this. In fact, research shows these early years are essential to forming a solid foundation for a child, but I don't need to tell you about the research. Anyone in this room who's a parent knows that from the moment a child is born, they start to learn. It's not just when they get into grade 1. The learning begins right from the moment a child is born. And we as communities, community leaders, and parents and families need to recognize that and need to think about how we can put those supports in place to help children and to guide them through life early on. And so, our vision and our goal for all our children and families is to have better access to a range of high-quality, inclusive, and affordable early years and childcare programs. Programs that support learning, development, and well-being. Programs that support families. Programs that build a stronger future for all of us. Because really, when our families are strong, when children are strong, we all benefit. That's why today I'm pleased to announce that our government is expanding culturally relevant childcare and early years programs for Indigenous children and their families living in urban and rural areas across the province. This means Ontario will allocate $70 million to expand provincially funded childcare and child and family programs off reserve as part of the Journey Together, Ontario's commitment to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. I think that's fantastic news. What about you, Sylvia? This funding will support 58 projects over 2 years, beginning this year. Think about that. It's so important. Think about all the children, all the families who are going to benefit from this support. I want you to know that these programs will be delivered by Indigenous organizations across Ontario, all kinds of organizations, but certainly ones along the lines of what Sylvia Marcal and Ontario's Friendship Centres, organizations like those. It's about partnerships, programs that were co-developed by local service managers and Indigenous partners. This investment will help to establish new or enhance existing childcare programs. And in some cases, these programs may include free drop-in programs for caregivers and children up to 6 years old. So important. These programs will allow families to learn. These programs will allow families to grow together. And these programs will allow families to get the help and support they need so their children can lead happy, healthy, and rewarding lives. Today, I also have the pleasure of announcing that this expansion will benefit the community right here at the First Nation School of Toronto, and I think that's amazing. So I'm happy to announce today that we will be providing $11 million towards a new learning space here at First Nation School of Toronto. Here's what this means. This includes a new classroom, a new gymnasium, and 4 new licensed childcare rooms, creating 64 new licensed childcare spaces, 1 new child and family program room, and mobile programming. Just think about that. Think about how this is going to affect the school, the children that come here, the families, and the communities in this neighborhood. And ultimately, in the end, I believe every single thing that we all do, no matter where it is in the province, affects all of us. Because we do belong to one family. And so those supports and that additional help helps everyone. Because our children are our future. And it is so important to make sure that that support is there. This investment is important. It's part of the new capital investment we're making across the province. Investments in 79 new and improved schools that will include more than 2,700 licensed childcare spaces for children aged 0 to 4. This capital funding will provide students with modern learning environments. It will help more families access safe and affordable childcare closer to home. And it will give thousands of children in our province a strong start in life. It is my hope that these investments will also contribute to the social infrastructure within various communities. And Indigenous organizations will receive support. Support so they can plan and deliver quality childcare and early years programs that meet the needs of children and families in their communities. Culturally sensitive programming that really helps children move on in their lives and understand their identity, their culture, their history, and equips them in a real way to be successful and to be happy individuals. This funding is part of our long-term commitment to all Indigenous children, families, partners, and stakeholders across the province. It's a commitment to continue to engage and discuss childcare and early years programs with Indigenous and federal partners. In the meantime, we're excited to move forward together, move forward with our journey together, and to maintain our positive momentum as we work together to transform Ontario's early years and childcare system. Our goal is simple. We want to build a system that is high quality, a system that is inclusive, and a system that is affordable and more accessible for all Ontario children and families. Because all children have the right to get the best possible start in life, because all children should have the opportunity to succeed, and because all children should be able to reach their full potential. Because absolutely, when our children succeed, we all succeed. And so, thank you. Thank you for being here today. A big thank you to the Vice Principal Green and to Principal McKay, to the elders here today, and certainly to the teachers, staff, and parents here, along with the young people here, the Aboriginal Community Advisory Committee for hosting this amazing event. Miigwech, merci. Pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you.
I'm Sylvia Miracle. I'm the we're laughing because there's supposed to be an introduction, but I'm just going to believe I don't need an introduction. I'm the Executive Director of the Ontario Federation of Indigenous Friendship Centres, and many years ago I was helping raise two of my nephews who came to Wandering Spirit, and who to this day remember some of the Ojibwe and Cree words they learned as they're in their 30s. So I want to acknowledge that, and I want to acknowledge Pauline and Vern's vision and how important very clear vision is to moving forward. I also want to talk for a minute just about Journey Together. They should never give me a mic, but part of Journey Together is not just the environment where we can do things. It's about changing the system. It's about everybody has to change the way they have done things because it has not worked for us. And that means power sharing with boards. It may mean specific Indigenous trustees who are equal in standing. It certainly will mean how teachers are trained and accredited. It will mean that you have to make room for us to be in the classroom. And so one of the opportunities in what we're doing in terms of childcare is creating opportunities for language and language nests so that our children from day one begin to hear the language, because we've just emerged from a residential school process where we weren't allowed to. And in the language and in our visual issues, is the ability to really understand who we are. And it's only with that, when we can instill that, when we can practice it, when we can encourage it, when we can share it, will we find our place in terms of the system. And the system will be rewarded. There are enormous rewards as all children learn the truth about our history, our past, our relationship, and more importantly, about braiding together all those concepts to move forward. So on behalf of the Friendship Centres in Ontario who are going to participate, it's absolutely appreciated and vital time for us. We're going to take it to make sure that it's a formal transmission of our culture and our language. We're going to watch little people thrive. We're going to watch parents learn how to parent again. We're going to watch a place where grandparents are invited and welcome in an education system, and a place where elders and traditional people are leading the way. So I want to acknowledge the elders and traditional people who are here. I want to acknowledge the knowledge keepers who are here. And you have been very patient. It has been a long time for us to move this. But with the help of the new minister and Mitzi Hunter as well when she was there, people who work in Indigenous education, we're realizing it. And thank you very much. And look out. I'd like to invite the minister back up to receive questions from the media who are here.
Thank you, Sylvia. And I apologize for forgetting. I was supposed to introduce you. So, but you know what? I just want to say before anything else, this is such an amazing announcement, but it really is about partnerships. And I think you got to the heart of what this is all about. When we talk about Journey Together, we are absolutely talking about a journey together, right? And so thank you for that. And I'm very pleased about this. Are there any questions? Yes.
Should I?
Yeah, sure.
We moved here in the, any money that's coming in to help our school is great news, and we'll certainly use it in an effective way. But I thought that we were kind of in the line of like somewhere at 10 million producing a school that was kind of status quo that every other kind of school would get, and that above and beyond that would be what we would use to really create a space that belongs to Indigenous people, so that we don't have anybody that's coming in here without a comfort level and a surrounding that will create a safe place for healing. And that indigenizing part was above and beyond the 10 million. And so your announcement of 11, which was kind of smaller than I thought it was going to be. So moving forward, I'm not sure how we kind of accomplished creating the space that we had envisioned, because I feel like that money is going to, and the additional, when you're talking about the space for the childcare, that was kind of flowing in from a different place. So I feel like that kind of money was kind of hopefully going to flow to us regardless of what we did for our capital investment into the school. So I guess I'm just looking for some positive
Sure.
something
No.
about going forward
No.
that's going to create a venue or a lead to creating an indigenized space rather than this basic school that everyone
So
else.
absolutely, I think it is really important to be able to have the funds that you need to be able to create a culturally sensitive place here. As in terms of the school boards and so on, you can sit down, it's okay. So, this funding and this school is, this is really in recognition in many ways of the value of culturally focused learning, and this school is a striking example of that, and a huge example of that. How the funds are used and so on is up to the school and the school board, but what I can tell you is that the money that's been moved forward is about the same amount of money that we usually move forward for these kinds of enhancements and stuff. Remember, there are processes in place, and there are kind of rules and guidelines about what we can do, but I would really believe, and my understanding is that this will move forward to create a space that will be delivering culturally sensitive programming for Indigenous children. This is what this school is about. In addition to that, the more than $1 million towards the childcare spaces. I mean, 64 childcare spaces are a lot of spaces. 4 new rooms is a lot. Including the child and family room, including, of course, the new gym and upgrades. Could we be doing more? Absolutely. There's tons of things that I would love to do, not just for this community, but for communities around the province. But we are doing our best, and I really feel that this funding is going to help to build this community up and give these children the start that they need and a strong start in life. And I'm happy to discuss that more with you later. Is that it? All right, thank you. I do want to say one thing, though. I talked today about the funding that is going towards rural and urban schools through the $70 million. But in December, we also announced $23.5 million that was moving towards childcare on reserve, and that was a huge announcement too. And so I just want you to know that these pieces all fit together, and I am proud to be part of a government that is thinking about these things and actually moving forward with these investments. And Sylvia knows, and some of the other people that are in the room, and Pauline, I do think you and I met before. We did meet before. I think it might have been when I was working on my early years portfolio, but possibly on the Status of Women portfolio, where I heard a lot about the importance of childcare in the community and the need for it. And so I am proud, and I said at that time when I had those consultations and conversations with people in the community that we would do what we could to build those supports in and deliver them. And I just want you to know that I listened, and these are some of the steps that we're taking in our journey together. Thank you.